Awesome, guys. Hey, we thank you first and foremost. My name's William. I'm the CEO of SharpeSoft. We're thankful for your guys' trust in us, and we're super thankful that we get the opportunity to serve you guys. So have a Merry Christmas. Also want to remind you, Andy said he'll mention at the end, we'll put $750 in your pocket for a referral of a deal we can close. So we thank you for that opportunity. And again, we're just thankful to serve you guys with excellence. So as Andy said, hopefully everybody can see my screen up on the top left. If I can, I'm sure I'll see some comments bottom right. So I'm just in a particular job, and then I'm going to go to our menus, and then I'm going to go to a job bid item really quick. So I built a mock job. I'm sure you guys know about groups. We have alternates, the zeros or the yellows. So you guys can see all of that other stuff at any given time. I'm going to jump over to our summary sheet. And notice now I have a cost of $838, no markup, and then that's my overall job at $838. So the first thing I'm going to do, notice this indirect here. The first thing I'm going to do is go job and then indirects. So indirects can be anything that you want them to be. They bid like a regular bid item. Right click, insert, or as you notice the plus button, insert, and I could do ID 01, and I might call this supervision for the project. And again, there's many different use cases in this, but just to show you the supervision way, and maybe I'll say 20 days. So now once I'm in here, I have the ability, just like items, I could go straight to detail or sublevel. So if you're setting up a office trailer or those types of things, you could bid these items. You can most certainly save them away to the item master. We won't really talk about that today, but that is a capability. I'm going to go straight to detail. And this is just the way we bid a regular job. So for me, I'm going to go to my labor, and then I want to go down here to superintendent, and I'll drag in a superintendent for this particular job. And maybe I'm going to go into the office employees, and I want a project manager. Again, these are specific to your rates. He comes with a truck. And so maybe I want this to be 20 days, but it's 20 production, sorry. And then I want 20 days here. So the 1 day is I'm production there. I could toggle here days and hours. Maybe I want my project manager only 0.25. So now once I'm done here, notice this total of $17,000 once it's all said and done here. I escape out, and now I go back to my summary, and notice that $17,000 has been added back into the job. And notice it doesn't impact cost, but it shows up now as an overall multiplication factor, not a markup, but a multiplication factor. So also, you guys have in the webinar, you guys have the ability to react. There's a little smiley face up there. If there's a thumbs up, if there's a heart, if there's a clap, if you're learning something that you're learning new, definitely engage with us. We'd love to be able to hear about that. So in the indirect cost here, as I then start to build out whatever those indirects are, I may ultimately want to put in, we'll call this, maybe it's overhead, right? Maybe I want to bid out my overhead, and this is a one lump sum item. There's different types of variables that we can have in here. We did mention the item master, so I could right click and I could go insert from my item master. Again, these would be set up specific to you. I'm not advocating that this is organized properly. This is part of our classroom data that I would go to, but maybe you wanted to put your paving for whatever reason. You wanted roadway paving inside of your indirect. I could now add that number of $219,000 runs out in my summary sheet with an indirect cost. So that might be a decent pause point. Maybe before I go through that, the indirect has the ability as well, just similar to the bid items, is I could right click and I can what if. I can also add those bid item statuses. So if you're using those, I could say this is a contractor item. So those flags will show up. There are reports with options to print out indirects as well as include those indirects. So with that, Andy, I may take a pause. Do you have any questions? Does anybody in the webinar have any questions in the Q&A about indirects?
We did have one question roll in, Will, when you started on it and talked about the beginning of indirects. Can you touch on any other ways that an indirect item might be used other than the example you gave?
Yeah, every company is going to do it a little bit different. Some people might run small tools. Some people might run fuel. Some people might run all of their equipment as indirect. It's basically anything you want to get into the job that is not an actual part of the cost. So it's a great question, and I think it's a huge question that can be answered in multiple different ways. So for those of you guys that are listening, I've been in the construction industry for 30 years, get the great opportunity to take over and lead Sharp. Started about 5 or 6 years ago, but from a bidding process, multiple people will look at jobs differently, and they may, again, supervision was just kind of that first option from there. It could be your mobilization. It could be setting up job trailers. It could be setting up all of those different items that are just kind of behind the scenes that are not actually tied to the actual job. Did that answer that question, Andy, do you think?
Yes, I think that covered it, Will. Yep, absolutely. We did have another one come in. When you did the what if in the indirect item, does that delete the item?
Yeah, no. So great question as well. The what if, all it does is zero out the cost, very similar to the way it does in the bid item. So notice if I'm in the summary sheet here, it's at $17,000. So if I have a couple different options that I'm bidding in, the what if allows me, so I'm just right clicking what if, that what if just allows it to show, sorry, I went to the rounding sheet instead of the summary sheet. It just allows it to show up. It basically toggles it on and off.
Great. Thank you, Will. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So that's kind of the indirects. Again, we could spend a month just talking about the way to do that. Hopefully the concept is clear there. So with that, I'm going to move over to what we call our, so I'll go to the bid items again. Notice we have these bid items. Now, prorate items. Notice right now, if I go to the 12-inch sewer, I have a sub item for excavate, lay, and backfill. And if I go to the sewer service, I also have excavate, lay, and install, and backfill. So one of the options that I could do with prorates, job, prorate items. So notice here, I just copied those items. That's what this gets into. So I have a sewer crew, and then I put the excavation, lay, and backfill with both of those. But I could also just save that away if I want to in the item master, but then that allows me to, if there's multiple sewer items here, instead of doing it maybe as all independents, I could just go, maybe I have 2,400 feet, and then I want to come in here and I want to bid this at a blended production between my sewer services in this particular case and my sewer main. So let's just say I want to get 175 lineal feet a day. Notice that changes my production. So there's my hours and my days. I may bid 14 days. So this is a way that you could change crews rather quickly. So now that I've bid that, and again, that bid's just very similar. If I, even though I have a crew and I want to add a labor, maybe I want to go and add a different foreman. So maybe I'll add my labor foreman. I just drag and drop that in. And there's my labor foreman. He comes in with a truck. Even though I have an existing crew, I can edit that. So now I have a unit cost. And now I go job. Before I do this, I'm going to go to the summary sheet just to show you the difference here. So our cost is at $760. If I come to here and I want to then what if this, so I'm now what ifing this prorate. Notice it takes it out of my cost number. So prorates exist in the cost, indirects show up on this side. They're not impacting cost. So that's one of the major differences between indirects and prorates. So if I leave this in and I want to what if this, And the reason I would do this because I want to manipulate my productions instead of going to each item. So now I go to each item. In my sewer, I have there. So I'm going to what if this, I'm going to take the cost out because this is the way I bid it. And I'm looking for a little bit more efficiency. So now I'm going to take this out. And then I'm going to come into my manhole and all of this that was other than the cleanup, let's say, I'm going to what if all of that. So basically all of my labor outside of what I have in the prorate, again, if I go to the summary, my labor is lowering. So now I go to job spread prorate and notice I have that sewer crew. And now I want to come in and I want to select spacebar, spacebar, spacebar. And the advantage that this gives me now is now that I have this spread, I could spread by percentage of item cost, by quantity, or spread by reset to 0. Notice there's nothing spread. So I want to reset it or spread it by item cost. So once I spread that, now it's 70,000 bucks. $13,000 went to the sewer main. $52,000 went to the sewer service. And then there's the percentages that are there. So make sure I got rid of that. So there's my material. I must have something added in the material. So there's those items there. I was just checking the cost. It seemed like it was a little high. But now what I've done in, again, job spread prorates, those items have been spread that $70,000. So now if I want to make quick changes, instead of going to each of these individual items, I could now go to my job spread prorates and I like my spreads. I could manually spread them if I want. If I go to my prorate item, I could come in here and change my overall production. If I want to loosen up the job a little bit, get a little bit higher, notice that 17 changes. So I go job spread prorate. It's now changed that number. I've added $15,000. If you're doing your bid reviews and you decide you want to go through, and you want to get a little bit more aggressive, whatever that aggressive looks like, maybe I want to do this in 12 days, right? So you can manipulate your productions that then drive that cost from there. So I just want to show you guys something as well. I'm going to go to the spread prorate. I'm going to reset it to 0. So notice it's at 60,000. Now I'm going to go to our rounding sheet and it tells me here that I have unspread prorate. So if I click on this here, that warning tells me that I have an unspread prorate. I click on this, I go to that item, and then now I want to spread that cost. Notice it drives that cost back into the job, and then we could do the rounding sheet from there. So the major difference in prorate items are cost basis, indirect is outside. So with that, I'll take a decent pause here and ask if there's any questions on prorate and or rounding sheet at this or indirects.
Yep, thanks, Will. We did have one come in that I'm going to bring you back to indirect. So if anyone has the questions on prorates, you can put them in the QA now. But our question that we got, Will, was when we were doing the indirect costs, there was a percentage that was next to it. Can you go to the percentage and use that to drive the cost for the indirect?
So if I'm hearing that correctly, that inside the summary sheet here, we are showing a percentage. We cannot edit this as a percentage as of yet, but I think that's a great feature to be able to just come into here. The one problem that, not necessarily a problem, but if we go back into the indirect here, if there's multiple, let's say, and we just want to change that percentage, we need to flush out, how does that get changed? Does that change all material, labor, and equipment? It just changes it by a wholesale amount. But that would be a feature that we would definitely look to add and change if we had some more background to that. So thank you. That's a great question.
Okay. We have another one about specifically with the prorates. Can prorates have sub levels, and can you spread the sub levels?
So first part of the question, we could most certainly have sub-levels. So you could bid, this was, if you remember, I brought this in from the item master. So this item now has sub-levels, and I can add a different sub-level. So we most certainly can have sub-levels. When we get to the spreading prorates, right now we are just spreading just the top level item. So at this point, we're just spreading the top level, but you can bid it with sub-levels if that's what you want.
Okay, thank you, Will. That's so far all the questions we've gotten on the indirects and prorates. I'll let you know if we get any others that lag, but I think we're good to go to our trench profile unless you had anything else to show in these two areas.
No, perfect. So yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate that. Now I'll walking back to our bid item. So I'm just going to show a couple high level items and then I'll jump into the sewer here. So we do have a new feature in the trench profiler that is allowing, so maybe let me walk this back. If I go to an item and I drive into the item and then material and I see the little icon, which is the trench profile icon, I can double click into this, and then this allows the trench profile that's associated to that material to be open. So we do have box culverts, so you can have box culverts now added to the trench profile, as well as what we're calling duct banks. So if you're doing dry utilities and you have a 6 inches and 2 2s, you can run that in a duct bank. So this is just a visual. Again, it adjusts, it changes. If I change the numbers, all of that information adjusts and changes directly in my bid. Everything updates from there, but you could access that there. So now going into our sewer, if I go into the material, I don't have a trench profiler for this. So if I go to my trench profile, I'm going to show a couple different things. I built a trench profile here, and I'll walk through building a new one here in a minute. But this is a 8-inch trench profile that I brought in. And now maybe I want to add a section and then link this to the item. So I'm going to add the 0.25, and I'm going to call this 10 and 10. So we're going to do this as a T trench. So I'm going to then come in and add a material. I'm going to go here, and then I have a paving item, and then I want to go trench paving. So once I link those materials, I want to have this to be, let's just call it 3/4 inch AC. So there's the material. I'm going to bring that in from my aggregates. I'm going to bring it in from asphalt, and I'm going to bring in that hot mix 3/4. So there's my conversion weights. I may put a shrinkage 5. And then I want to go okay. This is the vendors. Again, I'm not advocating that these prices are correct. Those are our demo tables. And notice I have an 8-inch or a 12-inch sewer here. So I want to come in and I want to change this. And I want this to be 8-inch SDR 35. So that changes automatically. There's the information. Now I want to link these materials to that bid item. So there's sanitary, and then there's the material. And I want to use the 8-inch that's there, and I hit OK. It's now linked. I didn't change the description there, so that was me. It did change the code. I hit OK, so that changes the description. Now I want to link the stabilized material. So notice it doesn't have a bid item linked to it. So if I click the magnifying glass and I go to sanitary sewer, 12-inch pipe, there's the material. I could link it to the backfill sand. Let's see what that does. Oh, it changed it to the backfill sand. I hit OK. Now notice it's showing my numbers here inside the volume removed, and I have groups. I can create groups within this particular job. So if I insert a group, I could have my water separated out and it's bringing those totals if you want the totals. What will be coming is that you could search this out for your haul or any of those items to use those quantities. That's a feature that's coming. But if I go back to that, now notice it's linked those materials to that particular item. So if I go back to here, I want to get that asphalt to the asphalt item. And then hit OK. So it's going to change that item out, zeroes it out. And then if I go to my item here, notice in that paving item, it's added that material as part of that. So I have one trench, but I'm linked to two different items. So that's just kind of like linking the bid items to the trench profiler. What I'm going to do now is build a brand new trench for the sewer services. So I'm going to come into here, sewer service material, and I have my material. So what I want to do now is go to my trench profile icon. I'm going to come to my sanitary sewer. I'm going to hit the plus button. And I want to insert a trench. And now I'm going to call this 4-inch sanitary sewer service. So we're going to go 4-inch sewer service. We also do have the ability to pull from the item master tables if you want. You can add the stations if you want. I'll skip that for right now. The trench section, unit of measure, I will call it lineal foot. Next, the length, I'm going to go 900 feet. Hit next, and I'm going to want my material in cubic yards. I'm going to hit finish. So now I have basically a blank trench profile. So for me, first section is always going to be, if it's deeper than 4 foot, it's going to be 4 foot, and the width, we'll call it 2.5 and 2.5. So I'm creating a section. So now it's starting to build what looks like the trench. And maybe let's say this is a total of 8 foot deep. So I'm going to go another 4 foot, and then I'm going to go 1-to-1 because maybe I want to open cut my sewer trenches. So now I've built that trench. So for me, because I have two different sections, the first section's 4 foot, the next section's 4 foot, but then I'm doing it 1-to-1. If you just put it in an 8-foot trench and go 1-to-1, it would go from the bottom of the trench out. So now that I have the trench in, right? What's the materials that I have inside the item already? So let me go here. Okay. I just want to see, I got backfill sand and crushed rock. So I'm going to go back to here. And I'm going to go back to that 4-inch sewer service. And now I want the fill. So I'll just call this backfill sand. I'll change the color. I'll go with yellow, hit OK. The material, if I know the code, I can just type it in. So if it is BFS, which is backfill sand, it brings that in. So I could just type in the code, or I could search that. There's my conversion factors. And then there is the linked material. So it's linked in there, and I hit OK. I didn't put a depth on it, so it filled the entire trench. So now I have 100% export. I come back into here, and I want to put that depth to be 3 foot. Now it lowers that down. So I could put in another section, and maybe I'll just put native at this point, and it goes to the rest of the trench. And I'll put this maroon color, hit OK. So I select native. And now that I select native, it takes that and then it changes the spoil based out of there. Now I'll come in here and I'll want to go my 4-inch sewer. We'll go 0.5. Distance from the center, we'll leave it there. I'll call it color for green pipe, hit OK. I want it to be round. We'll go 4-inch SDR 35. So it's round. I could do elliptical if I wanted to. There's the wall thickness. There's the linked to the bid item. I hit OK. So notice there's my 4-inch. Now, if I want to drag this in and say that's too wide, I want to go narrower. All my quantities are now adjusting based on that. I hit OK. And now those items have been linked to that particular item. So that's kind of the trench profiler in a nutshell. You can create them, you can edit them, you can make changes to them, you can save them away to the tables, and then trench profile masters. So maybe I have a wet utility trench, sewer trenches. I can have those different regular trench, however those look like from there. So everything can go back to the table so you could use them and that you can refer to them again. So just a little bit of a reaction. Was it helpful that you guys have seen anything? Prorate, indirect, trench profiler that helped? Just the thumbs up, the hearts. There you go. Appreciate that. Andy, how about any questions that come through on the trench profiler?
We did have one early one come in. Our saved trench profiles, are you able to save them and are they able to be edited?
Yes, most certainly. So yeah, once you save a trench profile back to the item master, you can bring it in. Let's just say you save the 8-inch and then you want to make it 12-inch. You can make those adjustments and then save it back as a 12-inch trench profiler.
Perfect. Just give another minute here. Oh, is there a printout for the trench profiler? Is there a way to get the detail that's in it? What is available for that?
Yeah, so in the reports, in the report tree, and if you want something custom, you just let us know. But if I go to the trench profiles here, I could pick out the specific trench. If I wanted the specific trench, so notice those are the 4 trenches, or the trench profile group. And so if I want that sanitary sewer group, and then again, I could show the information. And then now I have that particular trench. There's the information for the 8-inch sewer trench that we built. And then there's the summary of information. And then there's the 4-inch trench. So that way everybody could see what you're looking at. There's the volume, total volume excavated, and then there's the spoils there. So trench profile reports, trench profile, and then pick those reports. That's a great question. Thank you, guys.
We had one last one, or at least in case we got any late ones. You had mentioned something when you were going to the trench profile about trucking. Is there any linkage to trucking component within Estimator and the trench profiler?
Yeah, no, that's something that we get quite often, and it's something that's going to be coming out in a new feature. But right now, if I go to the material, notice in here, I didn't have trucking. I think I had it in the 4-inch. So let me go. Let me go to the sewer service, and then I go here. Notice I have the trucking, but it's not, they're not auto linked at this point. So what's coming in a future release is that we'll be able to link inside the profiler. If I'm in that backfill sand, that you could link to trucking items. So when we adjust inside the trench profiler, it'll automatically adjust that trucking as well. So we could adjust it manually now, but we cannot adjust it automatically at this point. Not yet.
Great, thank you, Will. At this time, we don't seem to have any other questions. So, Will, I'll let you kind of conclude on your end. I'll bring up just some information for the team here, but I'll let you kind of finish off, and then I'll take the last bit of controls, and we'll set our amazing customers off with holiday wishes.
Yeah, man, we appreciate you guys. Thank you for the opportunity. Hopefully it was helpful. Drop us a comment. Make sure to give us feedback. If it was the worst 30 minutes of your life, let us know. We want to make sure that it's valuable. And most importantly, we want to make sure that we are serving you guys with excellence. So let us know how we could do that better. We appreciate you. Merry Christmas. God bless, and have an amazing finish 2025 and an amazing 2026. We love you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Will. Yeah, and everybody, we thank you again for attending. Up on your screen right now, if you have your phones and you're sitting at your laptop, you can scan any of these. The one on the left, as you can see, is our, if you want to be part of our next client spotlight, we would love to get your story, love to be able to get that together. It's a very easy process where we just set up a 20-minute phone call. We walk you through some questions. You get a chance to review it. We'll put it up on our website, but we can also get it so you guys can put it on your website. We would love to catch your guys' stories and how you guys have seen the benefit of the SharpeSoft Estimator being utilized in your company. We also have in the middle, we would like you guys to let us know what topics do you want us to cover, what things maybe in training did you maybe not get a chance to cover, but now you're at that next level and want to know some other things or want some refresher on stuff. So please scan and let us know, submit any topics in that form. And then, we would love for you guys, hey, it's still time to replenish that Christmas budget. So if you guys have any companies that you think would be a good fit for us, all we really want you to do is scan it, send it to us. We'll just give us their name, their contact information. Our amazing solutions team will reach out to them. And if we get them aboard the SharpeSoft family, we would love to give you $750 for it. So we want to thank everybody going into 2026 for the webinars. We're going to try to get consistent and try to hit kind of the last Thursday of each month with the invites coming out 2 weeks. So we encourage you guys to please spread the word about it. Let others in your organization know. If we're missing any information from them, please reach out to us. But Lord, we just want to thank everybody so much for their time. We wish for blessings and holiday cheer. We wish that there's no family strife with everybody. Everyone, our prayers go out to you guys in this holiday season, Lord. And we just thank you, everybody, again. We wish you a great Merry Christmas. We wish you an amazing 2026, and we look forward to partnering together again with you guys this year. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, and have an amazing, amazing rest of your day and an amazing holidays. Thank you.